So the thing that we need to talk about is Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi, if I'm not mistaken, was or is the world's smallest computer, and it has been developed here in the UK. There are many models. Currently the Raspberry Pi is at model 4, we'll say Raspberry Pi 4, but this is Raspberry Pi 3, the previous iteration. Every model of Raspberry Pi has two models, an A and a B. So this is Raspberry Pi 3 model B. Okay, just a thing to notice, at the top right hand corner of this it says element14.com, element 14. Okay, so how is that significant with Raspberry Pi? So when you purchase a Raspberry Pi, they come with different models, some with Wi-Fi enabled, some with they don't have Wi-Fi enabled. So what you need to look at is these two things, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled model. So let's have a look at what exactly is a Raspberry Pi. I'll keep this aside. Pretty nice packaging, and you will get an idea what I'm talking about here. Here we go. So this is a Raspberry Pi. It is, as you can see, the world's smallest computer. When I say the world's smallest computer, it is going to do all the things that a computer does. So how would that happen? It has the same chip, the motherboard, in which all the chips points are there with all the different ports that are plugged into a computer. So let's start with this. It has a HDMI port. It has a standard mini USB port. Okay, it has an RJ45 port, which is a LAN cable port. Okay, it has 4 USB 2, or I think they are USB 3 ports. Okay, so now this is a Wi-Fi and a Bluetooth enabled model. So what we can do is, you have, I think this is the power plug in which you plug in the power. So let us take a look at what comes in the box. So there are two ways to buy a Raspberry Pi. One is just this chip, just this motherboard with all the ports. Another one is a package deal where you get all the relevant components, the basic ones. So this is one where I got all the relevant components together. So they come in a separate box if you get them. Here it is. Okay, so as you say, it will get a power supply, 2.5 ampere, 5.1 volt, a micro USB, a 1.5 meter cable. Okay, so let's take a look at what is inside this. So you will get an adapter, okay, for the power brick. Then you would get the actual power brick itself. So if I take this one out, so this is the actual power brick. Okay, so let me keep that aside. Okay, so that's that. Apart from that, in the package you will get a patch cable, okay, which plugs into your RJ45 port and can be plugged into the router directly, or your network access point. Apart from that, you will get an HDMI, okay, an HDMI cable which you can plug into your display. So that goes in here. As you can see, that you can plug into your display, which could be a monitor. Then it comes with a case, Raspberry Pi 3 case black. So let's take a look at what things this holds. This is important because if you're going to travel, with this case, and you're going to put your Raspberry Pi, and it has all the openings for all the different ports, so your device stays protected. So you go your ports for the HDMI, the power, the micro USB. On the other side, the 4 USB ports, and this is the one for the RJ45. So I believe you can, oops, yeah, sorry about that. This is a way to plug it in. to cover it. If you, why this has a hole is if you want to keep down the temperature of this Raspberry Pi, you can plug in a onboard fan on this, and that will have this, it'll come out of this space, so that you may not need this one, you may not be able to cover this one. So that's that. So yeah, so now so what do you do with a Raspberry Pi? You can do multiple things with a Raspberry Pi. You can ideally this you can do a lot of experiments and stuff like that. This comes with another thing in the package. This element, let me see if I have that. I would think, yeah, this is the normal standard instruction guide. So when you get it with the package, you can put any kind of any of the variants of Raspbian OS in a micro SD. There would be a place where you can put in your micro SD card in here, micro SD card reader. So here it is. Here is your micro SD card reader. Okay, so you load your Raspbian OS on that micro SD card. You can download it from the internet. There are specific links. I'll leave that links down below in the descriptions. Put the micro SD card, power this with the power brick, and then boot it from the micro SD card. With this package, it came with installed with Noobs, which is the default installer for Raspbian OS. With that, it is for people who are not aware, a Raspberry Pi comes with, or the variations of Raspberry Pi OS are Linux distributions basically. So it comes with the basics with a browser, with a terminal window, and it can connect to a wired network, connect to a Wi-Fi network, and you can go browsing. You can do other experiments, as in you can create a Wi-Fi scanning device with this. There are loads of information over the internet where you can do it, but I would say this is a very handy one. You just put your Raspbian OS on this micro SD, boot this, it's very portable. You go to whichever network you want. You can connect to Wi-Fi, connect to a wired network, boot that up, connect to the internet, and then you are over the internet. You can go and do your research and other stuff. One of the important things is it works on a Tor network primarily, so whatever you are browsing it is very difficult to have detect your data in terms of people are like have some kind of surveillance over your data. If you want some kind of privacy, there are multiple Linux distributions. Like there is a OS called Tails OS. Tails OS is one of the best OS to protect your privacy. How it is when you boot up that OS, whatever you do, you log in with a password on a website and do whatever stuff, go to different websites on the browser, then you shut down the OS. Every record of this particular session that you went through to whichever website or whatever you did on that is wiped out. So you can install the Tails OS on a Raspberry Pi and get that work. You can install the Tails OS distribution on a USB sticks, plug this in and make the Raspberry Pi boot from this USB stick, and then you can get going. The only things that you need apart from carrying this is a Bluetooth connected wireless keyboard and a mouse, and you have this HDMI cable to plug into any kind of monitor, and you are on your way. So I think it's one of the most convenient and one of the great portable computers, or maybe there are many other variations of portable computers like chipsets like this, but Raspberry Pi has been the leader, and it's one of the most convenient things to carry around, do all your experiments. If you want to do something for research, create a Wi-Fi scanner, or do any kind of research on any kind of module or any kind of code that you have written, this is one of the best things to use. I highly recommend that. We will get you a detail about what are things that you can do with this. I'll have a walkthrough about that, a couple of things that I have gone through in the next video. Until then, you can get a package of Raspberry Pi online and in Amazon or eBay or whichever things that you're planning to. But make sure when you get if you're starting for the first time, you get a package with Raspberry Pi along with the micro SD card. You get 16 or 32 gigs of SD card that are recognized here, pre-installed with Noobs installer, which is the default installer for Raspberry Pi, and you get it with a case and an HDMI cable, of course. So these things will let you get started rather than getting this one separately and then going in the market to get these things separately. I will leave a link in the descriptions of the package that I got or where from I got from, whether it was, you can get it in Amazon in many links over there, but this is the basic starter kit that you need to get started with. So I hope that was informative and that was useful for you guys. We'll get into further details about how this Raspberry Pi works in a different video. Until then, thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, hit like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.